Good morning, Falcons. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd. I am Max Lyons.
And I'm Dylan Wise. Today's weather. Today will be mostly sunny with a few passing clouds. There will be a high of 72 and a low of 49.
On this day in 1970, Earth Day, an event to increase public awareness of the world's environmental problems, is celebrated in the United States for the first time.
Earth Day was the brainchild of Senator Nelson of Wisconsin, a staunch environmentalist who hoped to provide unity to the grassroots environmental movement and increase ecological awareness.
The objective was to get a nationwide demonstration of concern for the environment so large that it would shake the political establishment out of its lethargy, Senator Nelson said, and finally force this issue permanently onto the national political agenda.
Here are today's announcements. Last Friday, teams went head-to-head in the library in the semifinals of the Battle of the Books.
The winning 7th and 8th grade team will compete for the glory on May 9th.
Take a look at some of the action from last Friday's competition.
This is how legends are made. I'm cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.
Falcons. So we're still looking for students who are interested in being featured as a Friday Falcon Student Spotlight for the rest of the semester.
We'd love to share all the interesting things you do. To be on the announcements, scan the QR code that will be on your screen.
Also, if you have already filled out the form, make sure to check your school email for an email from Mr. Edney.
Feel free to stop by Mr. Edney's room 150, or email him at bedney@hsc.k12.in.us with any questions.
Ever since the beginning of high school athletics, kids have always been transferring, and this has been for a variety of reasons, and in some cases, it's been due to athletic reasons. This has gotten people to wonder, should this really be allowed? Well, me and my group have gotten into some deep research, and the results that we've found may surprise you. We have the pros, the cons, and all of the facts. All you have to do is listen to us.
For those who don't know what athletic transferring is when a student transfers schools for purely athletic reasons. This is done for a variety of reasons, and today we're going to demonstrate whether or not it should be allowed.
The first thing we have to figure out is what exactly are the athletic transfer rules in Indiana.
In Indiana, transfer rules for the high school athletics are strictly regulated by the Indiana Athletic Association, or IHSAA for short.
According to the IHSAA, in Rule 19, a student athlete who transfers from one school to another for athletic reasons will be granted less than full eligibility in sports participation at the receiving school. This means that if a student athlete transfers schools for athletic reasons, they cannot play sports until 365 days after enrollment into the school.
However, Rule 19 has recently changed. On February 21st, 2025, the IHSA Executive Committee approved changing how athletic transferring was to be regulated.
The rule now says that if a student athlete transfers between their freshman and junior year, they can keep full athletic eligibility even after transferring.
However, they will not keep eligibility if they transfer a second time, unless they're transferring to the school they originally came from.
This rule change allows student athletes to transfer to high schools without their eligibility being revoked, as long as it's done before their senior year.
This rule change is set to take effect in the month of June, so eventually we'll be able to see how transferring will change high school athletics. Now that we know the rules for athletic transferring in Indiana,
let's look at the advantages.
Athletic transferring has many advantages for several reasons. According to a sports analyst by the name of Aaron Strauss, it is an effective way to help you play at the college level.
If a student athlete transfers to a school that is better at a certain sport, the student will gain exposure to college teams and coaches.
Another reason athletic transferring is done is to play better competition.
If a student athlete transfers to a school with a better team, they are more likely to play against teams that are just as good at being able to further improve their skills.
This is a huge reason why athletic transferring is done so often. Becoming visible to college recruiters is extremely beneficial and improves your chances of playing in college.
For example, if a talented football player transfers from a regular high school to a high school with a prestigious football program, history with sending athletes to college, the player will gain more exposure to competition and college coaches.
In short, athletic transferring can be beneficial to student athletes because it exposes them to better teams, stronger competition, and more visibility for recruiters. I'm Ashlyn Jackson, and I'm here with Camden Hook from the 7th grade. What sport are you in?
Wrestling.
Are you going to keep playing sports in high school?
Yeah, probably.
Would you transfer to another school for an athletic reason?
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Along with advantages, there is a sheer number of disadvantages that come with transferring to another school.
When a student athlete is transferring, it does not only switch their athletic life, but it also switches their personal life and school life as well.
According to a college recruiting page known as College Athletic Advantage, athletes must adjust to a completely new environment when transferring.
This includes new teachers, teammates, classmates, coaches, and the list goes on and on.
Another disadvantage to athletic transferring is that most state athletic associations have transfer rules, which can heavily get in the way of an athlete's journey.
Athletic associations tend to have punishments for athletic transferring, like mandatory sit-out periods. This could derail playing time once an athlete transfers.
Athletic transferring can also have its emotional and academic effect on athletes. A major downside of athletic transferring is the impact on the athlete's personal and academic studies.
I'm Elijah Hill, and I'm here with Mr. Frawley, who's a teacher in the 8th grade, and he's actually a basketball coach. And we're just going to ask him a few questions about athletic transferring. So first off, what are your thoughts on athletic transferring?
I think at the high school level, I don't think it's a really smart idea. I think it gets rid of a lot of loyalty that kids should have to their schools, and I just think it opens up a lot of things that aren't necessarily good for high school athletics.
So do you think that it should be allowed because of like what the IHSA has been doing and all of that?
I know that it's starting to become a little bit more accepted. However, I don't necessarily think that it's right for students to be able just to go to different schools whenever they want for athletic reasons.
That's a good point. And lastly, have you ever had to deal with a student transferring for athletic reasons?
At the junior high level, we don't mess with that as much. We do have some students who will transfer into our building and who will have played for me before, but it doesn't necessarily happen at the junior high as much as it does at the high school.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Mr. Frawley.
Thank you.
My name's Talon Dorman, and I'm here with
Nolan Usser
from the 8th grade. Nolan, do you like how the NCAA transfers their players?
I feel like it's really efficient for like other players to get on other teams to make them more balanced. So yeah.
I agree. Nolan, do you think transfer?
I feel like they should because high school and NCAA both have really good players, and I feel like they should switch players.
I agree. Nolan, do you agree high school transferring should be allowed in the first place?
I agree because both things, like both teams, are alike in many ways.
Leaving a familiar school for athletic reasons might negatively impact the student's mental health, affecting academics, friendship, and overall stability, which are all important for success.
On top of leaving familiar surroundings and friends, athletes might have to deal with new relationships with teachers, coaches, and friends.
College recruiters may question frequent transfers, especially if an athlete is switching schools for non-athletic reasons.
I'm Parker Dohorst, and I'm here with
Nora.
Nora. What are your opinions on athletic transferring in high school?
I think it's kind of smart because you get to move to a different school and you are more guaranteed to if you get in, and if you do get in, you have a better education in your sport.
Good point. Are you thinking of doing a sport in high school?
Yes, I'm thinking of doing volleyball in high school.
Nice. Have you ever had a sibling transfer to another school? If so, was it for athletics?
No, I'm the oldest sibling.
Okay, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks for tuning in, Falcons.
Remember to be safe, optimistic, accountable, and respectful.
Have a great day.